In this video we have bought an engine hoist to Shropshire because it's Rich and the Mighty Dacia. So why are we here, Mr. Rich?
Well, I attempted to drive it to Bridgnorth, which is not a place it likes.
Oh,
so
that's true. I've broken down in Bridgnorth in the Mighty Dacia.
And some internal part of the clutch does not work anymore.
Okay.
So it will drive, but you can't change gear.
Right, so it's not disengaging adequately.
Yeah, in theory, someone more competent than me could possibly rev match, but
Yeah, it's not ideal, is it?
No, I just drove it back in first.
Slow, steady progress. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you've got some steep hills to get up to be fair. So yeah, you don't want to go too high. So we are going to see if we can get the engine off and see what's gone wrong and hopefully fix it. But yeah, very good to be back with the Mighty Dacia again. If you don't know what the Mighty Dacia is, you need to go and check out the playlist, because we bought this car in Romania 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
Which is terrifying. We'd never seen it before. It passed the Romanian equivalent of an MOT while we were flying out to Romania, and then we drove it back 2,800 miles. It was quite the adventure. So yeah, we'll get stuck in and we'll chat a bit more and have a bit of a catch up with Rich.
Right, where should we put it?
I was just thinking that. We now have a bonnet. Where do we put it?
I'll tell you what, if we go around the other side of the trailer,
Okay.
It should be safe up there where it's not going to get stood on by anyone.
Oh, we can also use it to keep the nettles down.
Yeah. There we go. I'll just remember to get the gloves when we put it back on.
Oh, that makes access much easier. Downside of a forward tilting bonnet is you can't do this.
Too much in the way, should they?
No. Radiator next, do you think?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just going to get a bucket, haven't I?
Yeah. So stage one is to get the radiator out. Rich is trying to get the belly pan off at the moment. It's absolutely substantial, this. I mean, you could go rock crawling with that. And taking that off will probably save quite a lot of weight. Whereas I'm just starting to free off everything around the radiator. So I freed off the shroud. So once we've got it drained, we can then just lift it straight out the top. And then hopefully it won't be too much, because there isn't too much, before we can get the engine out of the way. So for those who don't know, this is a Dacia 1310, and it's a Renault 12 built in Romania. This one's been living in the UK for 4 years, which is why there's a little bit of rust about, but we last saw this car at Festival of the Unexceptional last year. Rich got an MOT, what was it, like 2 days before?
It was the day before.
The day before Festival of the Unexceptional last year, and drove it all the way over to Lincolnshire.
Helpfully, that means that the MOT runs out the day before the Festival of the Unexceptional this year.
Yeah, so that's very helpful. But it does mean it is actually road legal at the moment. One of the things Richard's had to do is fit his headlights. What is that of a Ford Capri?
What I had to do, there's a metal plate sort of like that from a Ford Capri.
Okay.
I got one of them from a scrapyard. They only had one. So, but the inner lights, so the main beams, I didn't need to do anything with.
Although sadly this one seems to have lost its silver since.
Yeah, I'm hoping that one of the old dipped beams can go in there, because I think the yellow is all from the bulb.
Yeah, or it might have a bulb cap on it. But yeah, it might actually be a yellow bulb. How very, very French, even though it's not actually French because it's Romanian. But yeah.
But yeah, it's this was sort of stuck up the other side of the house for months, because I drove back stuck in first gear and drove it up to there, and it was like, right, I don't dare move it. I just need to get that old Rover, which has been in your videos before.
Yeah, many years ago.
Moved, because when I was using that, I got a new car because the MOT was about to run out. So I parked it here, and when I went back to it a week later, it wouldn't start. Whatever I did, whatever anyone else did, it wouldn't start. So, so a friend thank you very much, Mo, came over and helped me shift everything around the other day. And so that's there.
Yeah, I think Mo may have been in a video because he came with me when I sold my Lexus LS400 and swapped it for a Toyota Starlet. It wasn't a direct transaction. I bought a Toyota Starlet in order to get home. And that was the same year we did this adventure.
Yeah, because you brought the Starlet most of the way up to Scotland, didn't you?
Yeah, to drive up to the Aberdeen slightly sweary car meet, and then I caught the bus the rest of the way. So that was an interesting year all round, really.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Yeah, as was getting this car home and getting stopped by the police 6 times. But like I say, that's all detailed in the video series coming back. In fact, we once got stopped by the police while I was doing a live broadcast on YouTube. So that was like, oh, we're going to end it, folks. We've been stopped by the Rozzers. But that was in Slovenia. They were very pleasant.
Yeah, once we had the non-corrupt police, they're all very, very friendly. It just took a while while they did the actual
Bosnia,
processing.
we didn't have good times, but there we go. We did happily make it all the way back to the UK.
Yeah. It really looked after us on that trip.
It did.
Because I must remember to put these bolts back on, even if we don't put the belly pan back on, because they're holding the anti-roll bar.
Oh, that could be quite useful. Yeah. Right, I'm going to go back to disconnecting things that look like they need to be disconnected, I think. Radiator's out, and we've even managed to capture almost all the coolant in a bucket, so that's gone way better than you might normally expect. That's good, a good time to do a coolant change as well. Do we need to take the fan off, or do you think we've got enough room?
It should be okay, I think.
Yeah.
Wait, there's a metal one we could put on for...
oh yes. Yeah, Claudio, the young lad who sold us this car, gave us a metal cooling fan because he said these plastic ones are rubbish, but we climbed Mont Blanc with this one, so it's fine. Absolutely fine. Right.
Yeah, it was fine once it had thicker oil anyway.
Yes, yeah, it may have run the oil a little thin. It's got more sensors on the back of the block. I don't know what these are even for.
Do we know which one's
2
which?
there. Probably should have noted that. I'd say that one was on that one because the plastic is covering it.
Aha, yes.
Whereas that one is all exposed and rusty.
Oh, well, that's sounds like a good way of telling.
Yeah, got some big...
Well, best connect the fuel pump, I suppose.
Yeah, I kind of left fuel till fairly late. Yeah, the 13mm spanner has had a life.
I think that's the one I found on the road when I was walking somewhere.
Yeah, does the job, still works. It'd be easier to get at this starter motor bolt if the starter motor was removed, which is a shame because this is one of the ones holding it in place. I'm not sure we can get the starter motor out without removing the engine mounting.
Oh well.
That's fun. The starter motor might be staying in place.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's a phrase we're hearing a lot today. That's interesting. I suppose it might be able to get the starter motor out if you took the entire exhaust manifold off. That's another thing we've got to disconnect, of course.
Oh, crikey, I'd forgotten about that.
Good save. Right, in theory, we're there. Or if we're not, we're very close and we're about to find out what we've forgotten. Oh, it seems very attached to the bell housing at the moment. Oh, it's coming. All right. Yeah, I can see separation. Just not enough separation. I'm going to try pulling her up just a bit. Whatever that was, doesn't matter. And I'm also going to raise the jack under the gearbox.
Tell you what, it'd be handy if this bolt would come out, because it's
Stopping us twisting.
yeah.
Might just have to twist some more. Let's twist again, like we did last summer. Incidentally, the starter motor cannot be removed while we've got the engine mounting in place, so that's interesting. So the starter motor is loose and will probably fall out once we gain separation, which means we've got to remember to put it back in when connecting everything back up again.
Oh, I see. Right.
What we've forgotten?
No. It's all down to the engineers in Paris or Pitesti. That bolt can't come out because there's a bit of engine mount in the way of it coming out, so the whole engine has to go across.
Okay, so we need to rock the whole thing over?
Yeah, about half an inch.
Yeah, I'm not sure we've got that much movement because we're right up against the engine mount over this side. Haha. That's starting to look more positive. I think we'll do have a bit more angle on this. No, wrong way. Well, it's been a bit of a mission, but we finally got there. The exhaust just spectacularly gets in the way of everything, and even when we were jacking it up, it's managed to wedge itself in on the engine mount. The engine mount seems to have a mild tear in it, but I'm sure that's fine.
Nearly clear.
We're so close. Pulley's clear. Sump's not ever so much. Yeah, this engine hoist requires a lot of pumps. And now we can try and work out what's actually wrong with the clutch. We've got a slight issue. We can't actually pull the engine crane any further away.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to go, is it? No. Oh, we might.
It might, but we might not get it back.
That's true. Let's leave it there.
Right. So, any part of that looks like it shouldn't look. Let's have a look at a new one and hope it's actually the same sort.
Unless it's gone massively out of adjustment. The adjusters seem to be right pretty much at the top of their travel.
Yes, I adjusted them all that way to try and get some clutch.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, it's just something in the cover plate.
It's quite oily in there, isn't it?
It is a little bit oily, yeah. It is now quite oily in the afternoon. Oh, you meant to have that much free play in your input shaft?
Probably not.
That is ever such a lot.
Well, the missus was grumbling about would the gearbox be better once we'd finished this job?
No.
Hang on.
Oh, thrust
Shall I
bearing.
try operating the clutch?
Well, yeah, we can see if it pushes the thrust bearing out. In fact, if anything, I would say that's not releasing quite, possibly because the adjustment you've had to do to make it work at all. Let me try and back those off. Yeah, as I do that, I can see the thrust bearing going back in. So what we didn't do on the Daihatsu was check that this actually fits the input shaft, the wobbly input shaft. Oh dear. Oh no, there we go.
Oh, thank God for that.
Yeah, we know the clutch does actually fit this gearbox. Not a lot we can do about the wobbly input shaft today. That's just going to have to wait for another day. The last gearbox I did wasn't in a car with an engine dangling away, which may not look ideal, I'll grant you, but this is how people used to repair their cars in the street back in the day. You wouldn't even have an engine hoist, you just grab your mates round and hoik it out, probably park it on the slam panel.
My boss was saying something about fixing a Cortina between changing an engine on a Cortina between finishing work and going home for his tea.
Those were the days.
Yep. That's
There you go.
all levels.
Right, we're about to put the engine back in. We've got the new clutch on. We think it's centred. We don't have a clutch centre tool. Never stopped me before. So we're hoping for the best, hoping it's all aligned. Yes, the input shaft bearing is clearly absolutely stuffed on the gearbox. There's nothing we can do about that now. So just like folk back in the day, you just got to get the car back in action again. We're only here with a hoist today, so we can't just leave the engine hanging around. We're going to drop it back in, keep our fingers crossed. But at least we've got a nice new clutch ready to go, and yeah, let's hope for the best. Right, are you ready to guide? Yeah, that's just not feeling close. Okay, well, it's not
Bother.
the most work in the world. Maybe we will make our own clutch tool. Do you want a guide? Well, thanks to a lovely man called Tim, we finally got the engine back on the gearbox. That was a bit of a battle. But yeah, we got it all lined up right. We just could not get the thing to go on. And then you just start losing, well, I start losing strength in my arms because I'm a weakling. But,
I was going as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
It just seems like a never-ending. You're putting loads of effort in,
and nothing is happening. But yeah, he had a very impressive technique for getting it more lined up, top to bottom. And then I think he pretty much just lifted it and shoved it in. So yeah, I guess a bit of experience is a handy thing. But thank you, Tim.
It helped taking the extra engine mount off as well, to be fair. Yeah,
so we actually had more wiggle room. With the mounts on, we couldn't get it in. There just wasn't room to sort of manoeuvre it about. A bit like when I had to put the engine in the Reliant Fox. What a pig of a job that was. Similarly, because there's just no space. We've taken this engine mounting off completely so we can get the starter motor in, even though the engine's in theory. Whether we can then actually bolt the mount back in, rather, remains to be seen. Well, it's not quite the finale we'd hoped for, really. We're not quite there. The engine's back in, it's not buttoned up, but I just want to try something out of curiosity. Well, should we push her forward a bit first?
Yeah, just check this.
We've got a bit of working space. That should be in neutral, I think. Oh, that doesn't feel like neutral. That feels like neutral. Okay, and stop. And right, if we put her into first, he says confidently, try pushing me back. Nothing. If I put the clutch down, disengagement. So it's not quite the proof. We really wanted to go for a drive, but we've run out of time. Rich is off on holiday tomorrow. We've got to get back to Wales tomorrow. And we've rather run out of day, but it's actually been an enjoyable day. It's been lovely to catch up with the Mighty Dacia and indeed Rich. And yeah, how did you find it went?
Well, it probably as well as expected, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It was ambitious to try and get that out and back in a day on a car neither of us never really worked on that much in terms of the mechanical side of things.
Yeah. I mean, we've always been tinkering with one thing or another. I mean, if I'd spent a bit more time pulling off things like that under tray and things before, and then we might have got a bit closer. But
yeah, weather didn't help, and you can't really predict the weather. But yeah, it's been a fun day's tinkering. So we'll have to come back at some point and have another catch up with Rich and the Mighty Dacia. But it's been jolly pleasant to see you again. I still can't really believe it's 4 years since we did it. That's incredible. So yeah, hopefully we'll see you in a future video with more Mighty Dacia goodness. But until then, farewell.
Farewell.